The plea of an alien widow mother. Human, my children are well behaved, I can warm your bed. The planet below stretched wide and strange, with forests of shimmering blue-leafed trees and rivers that glowed faintly in the twilight. Stars reflected in the water's surface like scattered diamonds, and the wind carried a soft hum that was almost musical. Elias had explored dozens of worlds, but this one felt different. There was a quiet sadness in the air, a sense that something had been lost. "Approaching coordinates, Commander," said Lieutenant Myra Shaw, her voice calm but tense. Sensors indicate multiple structures on the surface. Some show signs of recent activity, but most are abandoned. Elias frowned. "Abandoned? How recent?" Myra checked the readings. "Within the last 2 years by all estimates, but there's faint life signatures." "One of them is moving." Elias tightened his grip on the control panel. "Then we need to find out who or what is down there." The shuttle descended slowly, gliding over a ruined settlement nestled between hills. The structures were delicate and elegant, built with smooth curves and luminous panels that flickered weakly. Many were toppled or cracked, as if some great disaster had swept through. The air shimmered faintly, almost alive. When the shuttle landed, Elias and his team stepped onto the soft, glowing ground. Their boots sank slightly into the surface, and a gentle warmth spread upward through the soles. Around them, the abandoned settlement whispered stories of a life that had once thrived here. "Keep your eyes open," Elias said. "We don't know what we're walking into." They moved carefully among the ruins. Broken panels revealed strange, translucent furniture and objects that shifted faintly in color, like they remembered their owners. Elias felt a tug at his chest, not fear, but a deep, strange sadness. The people who had lived here, whoever they were, had left in a hurry. Then, among the ruins, he saw her. She stepped out from behind a toppled structure, her movements cautious but steady. She was taller than most humans, slender, with skin that shimmered faintly like silver under the fading sunlight. Her eyes were large and dark, reflecting intelligence and sorrow. She held the hands of 2 children who peeked shyly from behind her legs. "Please," she said in a soft voice, her words translated by the universal translator instantly. "Human, I am alone except for my children. Please, we mean no harm. I ask for shelter. My children are well behaved. I can warm your bed." Elias blinked at the last words. The translator had rendered them literally, but he understood. She was offering care, warmth, trust, shelter. It was not what some humans would assume at first glance. The alien woman's plea was simple. She wanted safety for her family. He stepped forward cautiously. "Who are you? What happened here?" "My name is Liara," she said. "We are survivors. My family, my people, they are gone. I escaped with these 2. We need help, please." Elias nodded slowly. "You're not alone. You won't be alone here." The children hesitated but eventually crept out from behind Liara. They were unlike any species Elias had seen. Their skin shimmered like their mother's, but in shades of pale blue and green. Their eyes were wide and curious. The boy, slightly older, looked at Elias and said, "We will be good. We can help." Elias knelt to their level. "We will make sure you are safe." The alien mother nodded, relief flooding her face. She led them toward the shuttle. "Thank you, human. You do not know how much this means." Back at the human base, the team worked quickly to make a temporary shelter. Liara and her children were cautious but cooperative, following instructions and observing the humans carefully. Myra watched as the children touched a piece of human technology, their small hands moving with unexpected precision. "They're learning fast," she whispered to Elias. "I've never seen a species adapt so quickly," he replied. "Pay attention. This might tell us a lot about them and about this planet." Over the next few hours, Elias learned more about Liara. She was a widow, the last of her family. Her people had been intelligent and peaceful, but a mysterious disaster, something cosmic and destructive, had wiped out the rest of her settlement. She had survived by fleeing into the forests with her children. "They were waiting for something," she said, glancing at the glowing trees outside. "I don't know what it was, but I could not let it find us. We hid and we ran." Elias listened, intrigued. "Do you know what caused the disaster?" Liara shook her head. "No. Only that it took them all, my family, my home, gone." She looked at her children. "All I have now are these 2. They are small, but they carry hope. We can survive if humans help us." The children explored the base, marveling at human technology. They touched screens, listened to recorded voices, and even tried to mimic the human movements in the exercise area. They were quick learners. and it became clear that they were extraordinarily intelligent. Elias realized something important. These children could be an asset not just to their mother, but to humanity. Their abilities combined with human ingenuity might make them invaluable allies. But he also knew that trust had to be earned both ways. Night fell and the human base settled into quiet activity. Liara and her children huddled in their temporary shelter close together. They had survived horrors that humans could hardly imagine, yet they still showed hope. Elias walked past their shelter and glanced inside. The mother was softly telling a story to her children, using gestures and words he could barely comprehend. But the warmth, the bond, the determination to survive, it was unmistakable. Elias felt a sense of admiration. Humanity had always valued courage and resilience. Now he saw it mirrored in another species. These aliens were not helpless victims, they were survivors and possibly, in time, partners. As he turned away, a faint tremor shook the base. Instruments beeped softly. Myra rushed to his side. "Commander, there's something out there." Life readings moving fast, too fast to be just animals. Elias' brow furrowed. "Then we're not alone. Whatever destroyed her people, it might still be here." He looked at Liara and her children huddled in their shelter. They had survived so much already. And now human courage, intelligence, and empathy would be tested. Could they protect these new lives, or would this strange, beautiful planet claim them too? Elias took a deep breath. "Prepare for contact, and keep everyone ready. This is just the beginning." Outside, the glowing forests whispered in the night wind, and unseen creatures stirred. Somewhere in the shadows, the planet held secrets, secrets that might challenge humanity in ways they could not yet imagine. Liara held her children closer, her eyes scanning the night. "We are safe for now," she whispered, "but we must be ready, always ready." And so humanity met the last survivors of a fallen world, a widow mother and her children, strange and intelligent, yet full of hope. Elias knew that the decisions made tonight would shape the fate of both humans and aliens alike. In this moment, the galaxy seemed vast and dangerous, yet also full of possibility. The first night passed quietly, but the hum of the planet carried a promise. The story of survival, courage, and unity was only beginning. The morning sun painted the sky in shades of orange and violet as the human settlement awoke. The base was small, a cluster of modular buildings connected by metal walkways, but it had survived countless challenges in the harsh environment of the Luma cluster. Commander Elias Thorne strode through the main courtyard, observing the activity. Engineers tested equipment, guards made their rounds, and scientists recorded readings from the planet's unusual flora and fauna. Liara and her children had spent their first night in the human shelter. They had slept on soft mats provided by the colonists, and for the first time in years, they had rested without fear. Elias had watched them from a distance, noting how carefully the mother held her children close. She was protective, yes, but also calm, deliberate, and intelligent. The children, Jaren and Lyra, were already exploring the base. Their curiosity was insatiable. They touched panels and screens, observed moving machinery, and even tried to mimic some of the exercises that the human soldiers practiced. Myra Shaw, Elias' lieutenant, knelt beside them, showing them a simple sensor device. "See this. It measures energy levels in the soil," Myra explained. "It's simple, but it helps us understand this planet." Jaren's fingers moved over the device as if he understood its purpose intuitively. The screen lit up, readings climbing steadily. Lyra clapped softly, smiling at the response. "They are learning fast," Myra whispered to Elias. "Faster than I expected." Elias nodded, his brow furrowed. "We need to pay attention. Their abilities could be an asset or, if we are careless, a problem. But right now, they are survivors, and survivors can teach us a lot." The day progressed with humans and aliens adjusting to one another. Liara spoke in broken but clear English, aided by the translator. She shared information about the planet's ecosystems, pointing out plants that glowed in the dark and small creatures that moved almost invisibly through the forests. Her knowledge was precise, practical, and surprisingly extensive. "This one," she said, pointing to a small, luminescent plant, "can store water for long periods. Humans can use it if they travel far." A scientist, Dr. Han, scribbled notes rapidly. "Incredible, this could save lives on long expeditions." Even as integration seemed successful, not all colonists were at ease. Some whispered among themselves, their voices tense. "They are aliens. one of the engineers muttered. We don't know what they're capable of. How can we trust them? Liara has done nothing wrong, Elias said firmly, overhearing the comment. She and her children are survivors. They are not here to fight us. They are here to live as we are. That is enough reason to give them a chance. But tension lingered. The alien family's presence stirred unease among some colonists. It was understandable. Humans had long feared the unknown, even as they thrived on exploration. Trust was not easily earned. By evening, the children had learned to mimic more human behaviors. Jaren followed Myra during a routine supply check, holding small tools in his hands with surprising skill. Lyra explored the small garden, touching flowers gently, observing how they bent toward light. Elias watched quietly, impressed. These children were not only intelligent, they were adaptable. They could learn, observe, and respond in ways humans valued most, with curiosity, ingenuity, and care. Liara noticed Elias watching her children. She approached him, her gaze steady. They are learning because humans show them trust. They will not disappoint you. Elias considered her words. Perhaps, but trust can be fragile. We must guide them carefully, and they must guide us. As the human day ended, the night brought a different atmosphere. Instruments picked up faint disturbances in the surrounding forests. Shadows shifted unnaturally, and the humming wind seemed to carry patterns that defied normal explanation. Myra studied the readings on her handheld console. Commander, there's something moving in the woods, she said quietly. Life forms, multiple, fast, and not like any animal we've cataloged. Elias' jaw tightened. Stay calm, we've dealt with unknowns before, but we must be ready. He turned to Liara, who had been listening. Do you recognize it? Liara's expression grew grave. It is not a creature you have met. I have seen it before, but it is not alive in the way you think. It consumes life and it moves quickly. My people, we fought it once. Many died. Elias' eyes narrowed. Then you know what we might be facing, she nodded. Yes, you must be careful. If it finds this settlement, it will not stop. The tension in the base increased. Humans moved with purpose, preparing defenses, reinforcing shields, and readying weapons. Scientists ran simulations to understand potential threats. Liara shared her knowledge of the planet, guiding humans on where to position sensors and traps. The children assisted in subtle ways, pointing out patterns in movement and behavior they had noticed in the forest. Some colonists remained skeptical. We don't know if we can trust them, a guard said to Elias. Elias replied calmly, trust is not given lightly, but fear will not protect us. Understanding and cooperation will. These aliens survived when their species could not, perhaps because they were clever and careful. That is a lesson humans can learn from. The first night passed with unease. Shadows flickered along the base's perimeter, but no direct threat emerged. Still, the humans were on high alert. Liara kept her children close, showing them how to observe without fear, how to listen to the wind and detect danger. Over the next days, humans and aliens continued to integrate. The children learned quickly, imitating human speech and actions. They asked questions and offered observations that sometimes surprised even the scientists. Jaren pointed out that certain plants responded to vibrations differently at night, while Lyra noted how the glowing rivers changed their patterns during storms. Myra smiled at the children. You are learning more than we can teach you, Jaren grinned. And you are learning from us too, Liara watched, pride softening her face. They are strong. They will survive it because humans have shown them trust. That is more important than weapons or shields. But not all lessons were easy. Some colonists struggled to accept the alien family. Arguments occasionally flared about resources, security, and risk. Elias intervened each time, reminding them of the larger picture, survival, empathy, and knowledge. We are explorers, he told them, not conquerors. Not oppressors. If we succeed here, it will not be because we dominated this world, but because we learned, adapted, and worked together. That includes the aliens. As a storm approached, glowing clouds rolling across the sky, the base prepared for more than just rain. Instruments detected unusual energy readings, patterns unlike anything seen before. The storm itself seemed alive, reacting to the planet in subtle ways. Liara placed a hand on Elias' arm. The planet watches, it remembers. You are not alone here. Listen to it and it may guide you. Ignore it and danger will find you. Elias nodded. We will listen. The children, curious as ever, peered out at the approaching storm. It is beautiful, Lyra said softly. But dangerous, Liara smiled gently. Yes, but danger can teach. and those who are brave survive. That night, humans and aliens gathered in the main hall of the base. The wind howled outside and instruments buzzed softly with unusual readings. Elias addressed the gathered colonists. "We have taken in strangers. We have learned from them. They have shown courage, intelligence, and trust, but this planet is not safe. It is alive in ways we do not fully understand. We must remain vigilant. Cooperation will keep us safe. Fear alone will not." He looked at Liara and her children. "Your presence here is not a threat. It is a gift, a chance to learn, to survive, and to grow. Let us honor that chance together." For the first time in days, the settlement felt united. Fear still lingered, but it was tempered by hope. Humans and aliens alike shared knowledge, stories, and quiet laughter. The children played, exploring the hallways and touching devices with innocent curiosity, reminding everyone that life could continue even in a harsh world. Outside, the storm raged. Lightning shimmered across the glowing trees, and strange movements flickered in the shadows. The planet had secrets, and some of them were beginning to make themselves known. Elias gazed out at the horizon, his thoughts focused on the challenge ahead. He had seen humanity face impossible odds before. He had seen humans triumph not because they were the strongest, but because they were clever, courageous, and willing to work together. And now, alongside Liara and her children, he realized that humanity might find its greatest strength in compassion and understanding, even for a species entirely unlike their own. The night passed, and somewhere in the depths of the forests something moved, fast, calculating. Watching, waiting, but humanity would not be caught unaware, not this time. The sun had barely risen over the glowing horizon when alarms echoed through the human base. Elias Thorne sprang from his quarters, his heart pounding. "Report!" he barked into his communicator. Lieutenant Myra Shaw's voice came quickly. "Commander, readings confirm movement outside the settlement. Not animals, something else. Faster than anything natural, it's intelligent. We've detected energy fluctuations along its path." Elias nodded grimly. "Everyone to stations. Prepare defenses. Liara, gather your children and stay near the base. We need every hand ready for action." Liara's face, usually calm and composed, tightened slightly. "I know what it is," she said. "It is a predator of life, not in the way you know, but it consumes and absorbs. My people fought it long ago, and we failed." Elias placed a steadying hand on her shoulder. "Then this time we will succeed." Outside, the forests were alive with movement. Shadows shifted unnaturally between glowing trees. The alien flora reacted to something unseen, pulsing and bending away from the forest floor as if it feared the approaching entity. Sensors picked up bursts of energy, short pulses that traveled faster than light signals through the trees. The human colonists watched from the fortified perimeter, eyes wide. Weapons were ready, drones deployed, and communication channels buzzing with activity. Even the scientists, usually cautious, were tense. "Commander," Dr. Hand said, "our standard energy shields will not stop it. Its energy output is unlike anything we've seen. It may pass through normal barriers as though they weren't there." Elias clenched his jaw. "Then we adapt. We always adapt." He turned to Liara. "You said your people fought it before. How?" She hesitated. "We had knowledge ways to divert it, confuse it, slow it down. But alone, a single species cannot hold it. It requires cooperation, strategy, ingenuity, and courage." Elias' gaze swept across the base. Humans and aliens would have to work together. Then we fight together. Everyone listen. Follow instructions, observe, and learn from each other. We survive because we cooperate. The first signs of the predator appeared as a ripple through the air, almost invisible. Trees bent unnaturally, shadows deepened, and the wind carried a faint, low hum that made humans instinctively tense. Jaren and Lyra pressed close to their mother, their small hands clutching her clothes. "It's coming," Liara whispered. "Remember what I taught you. Stay calm. Observe, then act." Elias took a deep breath. "Everyone positions, stay alert." The creature revealed itself gradually, moving faster than the eye could track. It had no fixed shape, a shifting mass of energy and dark matter that shimmered with absorbed light. Where it passed, plants withered slightly, and sensors registered sudden energy spikes. Its presence alone was enough to unsettle the humans, but none showed fear. They had faced challenges before, and humanity's courage was already evident in their posture, their readiness, their teamwork. Liara's children studied it closely. Jaren whispered, "It moves in patterns like it learns." Lyra nodded. "We can predict it." Elias' eyes widened. Then you help us, every observation counts. Liara smiled faintly. They have learned from humans and from me, that is enough for now. The first encounter came near the outer perimeter. Drones were deployed, small automated machines with sensors and weak energy pulses. The predator reacted instantly, moving with calculated precision, absorbing the energy pulses and redirecting them. Humans adjusted rapidly, creating sequences to confuse it. But the predator adapted faster, absorbing, analyzing, and recalculating. "It's too fast," a soldier shouted. "It's learning from everything we do." Elias' mind raced. "Of course it is. Then we stop doing predictable actions, improvisation, creativity. Humans fight with innovation. That is our advantage." He directed teams to create erratic movement patterns, alternating energy pulses and layered signals. Liara guided the humans in using the environment to their advantage, pointing out which glowing plants could reflect energy, which trees could act as shields, and where the terrain could slow the predator's movement. The children were essential. Jaren noticed sequences in the predator's pulses, and Lyra pointed out that it slowed slightly when certain light frequencies were used. Using their insights, humans combined their technology with alien knowledge. Energy nets, directional shields, and mirrored light pulses began to channel the predator into predictable zones. The predator recoiled, but it did not retreat. It adapted quickly, yet humanity's cooperation proved stronger. They were learning together, humans and aliens, combining instinct, intelligence, and courage. Elias called out instructions, observing the battle with clarity. "Adjust the shield angles, use the mirrored lights." Lyra, Jaren, point out energy spikes. The children responded instantly, their observations guiding the humans to adjust defenses. Small victories accumulated. The predator could not simply overpower the humans because humans were unpredictable. They adapted, learned, and collaborated in real time. Liara's eyes shone with pride. "They are clever like you, Commander. Never forget that. Survival comes to those who think, who cooperate, who endure." Hours passed. The predator struck repeatedly, testing human and alien defenses. Sensors flickered, small fires broke out, and some drones were absorbed entirely. But humans continued to adapt, coordinating with Liara and her children. They used environmental traps, reflecting energy off crystalline trees, channeling water to conduct pulses, even digging narrow trenches to redirect its movement. Every human action was amplified by Liara's guidance and the children's insight. By evening, the predator had been contained temporarily in a field of energy nets, unable to escape without sustaining damage. It pulsed and shimmered, attempting to learn and adapt further, but the humans had used intelligence, observation, and creativity to stay one step ahead. Elias allowed himself a moment to breathe. "We've slowed it, not defeated, but slowed. That is progress." Liara knelt beside her children. "You did well. Humans are strong and brave. They will survive if they remember to work together." Jaren smiled faintly. "We helped too." "Yes," Lyra said, "together." Elias surveyed his team. Every colonist had learned something from the aliens and vice versa. Humanity's strength was not just in weapons or shields, but in the ability to adapt, to learn, and to cooperate. That was why they had survived countless worlds, why they could survive this one. The predator pulsed and shimmered in the nets, a reminder that the planet was not safe. But humanity had proven that courage and ingenuity could turn the tide, even against a superior threat. Night fell and the base settled into tense quiet. Sensors monitored the trapped predator and teams rotated shifts, ensuring no lapse in observation. Elias walked the perimeter, glancing at Liara and her children as they prepared for the night. "You are brave," he said to her. "And your children remarkable. They contributed as much as any soldier here." Liara smiled faintly. "They learned from humans as I have. Courage is not only strength, it is action in the face of danger together." Elias nodded. "Then humanity will survive, and maybe more than survive. We will thrive, and perhaps teach others like your children that hope is stronger than fear." Far in the forest, the predator pulsed again, testing its bonds. It was intelligent, patient, and calculating. It would not forget this day. It would learn. But the humans had already learned, too, that unity, courage, and clever thinking were weapons as strong as any technology. And in the quiet of the night, the first bonds of trust between species deepened. Humans and aliens, working together, had faced something beyond understanding and had prevailed, at least for now. Liara held her children close. "We survived today. Tomorrow we learn, and one day we will prevail completely. Elias watched the horizon, the glowing forest reflecting in his eyes. Humanity had met a force that could have destroyed them all, but human ingenuity, empathy, and determination had given them the upper hand. This was the essence of humanity, not raw power, but courage, collaboration, and the will to endure. The night was quiet, but the planet hummed softly, as if acknowledging the humans' resilience. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but Elias was confident. Humans would face them, adapt, and overcome. And so, Part 3 closed with hope, unity, and the first proof that humans and aliens together could withstand even a superior force. The morning was quiet, almost deceptively so. The glowing forests around the human base shimmered softly under the twin suns of the planet, and a gentle breeze carried the faint hum of unseen life. Commander Elias Thorne stood on the observation deck, scanning the horizon. Though the predator had been contained last night, he knew it would not remain passive for long. Lieutenant Myra Shaw approached him, a tablet in her hand. "Commander, readings indicate movement within the containment field. It's trying to adapt, bypassing our energy nets." "It's learning faster than before," Elias frowned. "Then we need to be ready. Today we don't just defend, we act." Liara and her children were already up, observing the activity from inside their shelter. Jaren's eyes were sharp as he analyzed the patterns on a display, and Lyra traced the movement of the predator with small gestures, pointing out energy spikes that humans might miss. Liara spoke softly to Elias. "It is clever, but it cannot think like humans. Your unpredictability is your greatest weapon, and with the children's help we can guide you to victory." Elias nodded. "Then we fight smart. Everyone listen carefully. Today we take the initiative." The base mobilized quickly. Humans reinforced energy shields, repositioned drones, and dug channels across the terrain to guide the predator into areas where it could be trapped. Scientists prepared high-intensity energy emitters, calibrated to frequencies the predator had not yet encountered. Liara led the children to the observation post. "You have learned enough," she said. "Now your observations will guide the humans." Jaren adjusted the data on the display. "It reacts to repeated energy pulses. If we change the pattern, we can slow it further." Lyra pointed to the forest edge. "And certain trees reflect energy differently. If we use them, we can create a trap." Elias looked at his team. "Then that's what we do. Use the environment, the knowledge we have, and the children's observations. Coordinate, adapt, and act together. That is humanity's strength." The predator moved again, faster than anyone could see, a dark, shimmering force that bent light around it. Drones swarmed, creating pulses of energy to distract it, while humans activated shields to contain it. The predator adapted quickly, redirecting pulses and seeking weak points. But this time, humans were ready to act unpredictably. "Change the pulse sequence," Elias shouted. "Use the mirrored trees." Liara guided teams as they repositioned energy reflectors, turning the forest itself into part of the defense system. The predator hesitated, its movements jerky as it absorbed and redirected energy, unsure of the new patterns. Jaren pointed out another opportunity. "If we push it toward the ridge and combine the energy nets with water channels, we can trap it completely." Elias considered it. "Then we act now. Teams Alpha and Beta move to the ridge, deploy nets and open the water channels. Everyone else support with energy pulses." The human colonists moved with precision. Soldiers carried nets and energy emitters, scientists monitored readings, and engineers controlled water flows. The predator reacted instantly, striking at humans, drones, and shields with bursts of energy. It was a battle of wits and will, a dance of adaptability and courage. Liara's guidance proved invaluable. "Aim for its weakest zones," she instructed. "Do not strike randomly, use observation." The children assisted silently, alerting teams to energy spikes or changes in the predator's movement. Their observations, though small, made a difference. Jaren noticed that the predator recoiled slightly from certain light frequencies, while Lyra indicated subtle shifts in its path that could be exploited. Hours passed in a blur of activity. Humans dodged bursts of energy, recalibrated shields, and synchronized attacks. Liara moved alongside her children, calmly offering guidance. Her presence reassured both humans and aliens alike, a reminder that calm observation could triumph over raw fear. Finally, the predator reached the designated trap. The water channels reflected the high-intensity pulses, creating a dazzling barrier that confused its sensors. The energy nets formed a cage around it, restricting its movement. The creature pulsed violently, thrashing against the containment, but it could not escape. Elias allowed himself a brief smile. "It's contained, for now." Liara knelt beside the children. "You see, courage, observation, and cooperation work, you contributed to this victory," Jaren grinned. "We helped because humans helped us." "Yes," Lyra said, "together." The humans gathered to assess the situation. While the predator was contained, it had caused minor damage to the perimeter, and a few drones were destroyed. But more importantly, humanity had proven something vital: their ability to adapt, to learn from new allies, and to act as one. Elias addressed the team. "Today, we faced a threat beyond understanding. It was intelligent, powerful, and relentless. Yet we prevailed because we worked together. Humans, aliens, children, all of us. That is the strength we bring to this galaxy." Liara watched him, her face a mixture of relief and admiration. "Your people are strong, not only in strength, but in courage, in creativity, in will. That is why you survive where others fail." Myra approached Elias. "Commander, we can't let our guard down. This creature learned from every action we took. It will adapt again, faster than before." Elias nodded. "Then we prepare. We cannot wait for it to strike first. We continue to learn, to improve, and to anticipate. That is humanity's way." The predator pulsed violently within the energy cage, sending tremors through the ground. Sensors indicated that it was attempting to recalibrate, seeking weaknesses in the human defenses. But humanity had grown smarter in the process. They had observed, adapted, and acted in ways the predator could not predict. Liara and her children played a vital role in the next phase. Jaren suggested adjusting the energy pulses to mimic patterns found in the forest, creating illusions to confuse the predator further. Lyra indicated sequences that reflected off crystalline trees, adding unpredictable movement to the traps. Elias gave the order. "Implement the children's strategy. All units follow their guidance." As the adjustments took effect, the predator's thrashing slowed. It seemed disoriented, struggling against the complex array of human strategy and alien knowledge. The humans moved quickly, closing in with careful, coordinated actions. By nightfall, the predator was weakened, almost exhausted. It pulsed intermittently, struggling to maintain its form. Humans and aliens stood together, watching. They had survived the day not because of weapons or shields alone, but because of observation, courage, and teamwork. Elias approached Liara. "Your family, they are extraordinary. Today, they saved this base alongside every colonist here. They are not just survivors, they are partners." Liara smiled, a rare softness in her face. "They learned from humans. Courage and intelligence are stronger than any weapon. That is why we survive." The children, exhausted but proud, held onto their mother. "We did it," Jaren whispered. "Yes," Lyra agreed, "together." Elias looked out at the glowing forest. "The predator is not gone. It will return, stronger, smarter, but so will we. Humans adapt, we survive, and we will prevail." Night fell quietly, and for the first time, the human base felt a sense of calm achievement. They had faced an almost unstoppable force and survived through ingenuity, observation, and unity. The predator's presence was still a threat, but humanity had demonstrated something powerful. Courage combined with intelligence could overcome even the greatest challenges. Liara whispered to her children, "You see, humans are strong, but we must remain vigilant. Tomorrow will bring new trials." Elias surveyed his team, exhausted but resolute. "We will face them, and when we do, we will prevail together." The glowing forests pulsed softly in the night, shadows stretching and bending. Somewhere within, the predator lingered, alive and calculating. It would strike again, but humanity was ready. And as the stars glittered in the sky above, Elias knew that the courage, cooperation, and ingenuity of humans, strengthened by the trust and guidance of Liara and her children, would allow them to survive not only this challenge but countless others in the galaxy ahead. The first major victory had been won, but the battle was far from over, and humanity, as always, would meet it head-on, with courage, creativity, and unity. The sun rose slowly over the Luma cluster planet, painting the glowing forests in soft shades of gold and violet. The human base had recovered from the previous day's battle, but the tension was far from gone. Sensors showed the predator still active, moving within the forests, learning, calculating, preparing. Commander Elias Thorne gathered his team, his face calm but determined. Today we end this threat, he said. Not with brute force, but with strategy, unity, and intelligence. Humans, Liara, Jaren, Lyra, together we will prevail. Myra Shaw stepped forward, her tablet displaying complex energy readings. Commander, the Predator is adapting faster. Every attempt we've made has taught it something new. We can't predict its next move fully, but we can control the battlefield. Elias nodded. Then we control it, set traps, reinforce the energy nets, and coordinate our attacks with Liara's guidance. We act as one. Liara's children were already at the observation console, eyes bright with focus. It moves in patterns, Jaren said. Every time it attacks, it learns, but if we change the environment faster than it can adjust, we can trap it completely. Lyra pointed to a line of crystalline trees. If we reflect energy off these, it will slow its movement and confuse its sensors. Then we can guide it into the canyon. Elias smiled. Good, let's prepare. For hours, the humans and aliens worked together. Soldiers dug channels, engineers adjusted energy grids, and scientists monitored every shift in the Predator's pulses. Liara directed human teams with calm authority, and her children offered observations that turned small details into strategic advantages. Finally, everything was ready. The plan was simple but risky. They would lure the Predator through a series of energy reflectors and water channels into a canyon where high-intensity nets would immobilize it. Humans would coordinate pulses while the alien family observed and adjusted strategies in real time. Positions, Elias shouted. Remember, stay alert, observe, adapt. We survive because we act as one. The Predator appeared at the forest edge, faster and more unpredictable than ever. It pulsed violently, dark and shimmering, absorbing energy from drones and shields. But the humans were ready. Soldiers moved quickly, emitting erratic pulses. Energy reflectors cast light in confusing patterns. The Predator hesitated, its movements jerky as it tried to process the new variables. Liara guided her team. Adjust the nets, push it toward the canyon. Children observe patterns and signal changes. Jaren and Lyra watched intently, pointing out energy spikes and shifts in the Predator's path. Every suggestion was acted upon immediately. Humans recalibrated shields, repositioned drones, and shifted water flows. The Predator reacted, but it was increasingly disoriented. Now, Elias shouted. The Predator, following the lure, moved into the canyon where high-intensity energy nets had been deployed. Water channels reflected and conducted pulses, creating a dazzling barrier of light and energy. The Predator struggled, pulsing violently, thrashing against the barriers, but the humans had planned for every reaction. Hold steady, do not let it escape, Elias commanded. For what felt like hours, the Predator resisted, absorbing energy and testing every weak point. But the human-alien coordination was perfect. Soldiers, scientists, Liara and her children worked in perfect harmony, anticipating its moves, adjusting barriers, and amplifying pulses. Finally, the Predator emitted a final, massive pulse of energy, then collapsed, immobilized within the canyon. Sensors confirmed its energy output had decreased drastically. It was trapped. It could no longer threaten the base. Elias exhaled slowly, relief flooding him. It's over, we did it. Liara knelt beside her children, pride shining on her face. You see, courage, intelligence, and unity are stronger than any Predator. You contributed to victory just as humans did. Jaren smiled faintly. We helped because humans helped us. Yes, Lyra said. Together. The humans gathered, exhausted but triumphant. The base had survived a threat that could have destroyed them, and humanity had proven once again that courage, ingenuity, and cooperation could overcome even the most dangerous challenges. Elias addressed everyone. Today, we faced a force beyond understanding. It was intelligent, powerful, and relentless. Yet we prevailed not because of weapons alone, but because we observed, adapted, and acted as one. Humans, aliens, and children, all of us contributed to this victory. That is the essence of humanity. That is the spirit that allows us to survive and thrive in the galaxy. Liara approached Elias, her face calm and serious. Your people are remarkable. Not only in strength, but in courage, creativity, and will. That is why humans survive and why we are safe now. Elias nodded. And with allies like you and your children, we can face anything. The settlement slowly returned to normal activity. Engineers repaired minor damage, scientists studied the Predator's residual energy patterns, and soldiers reinforced defenses. But there was no fear, only pride. Humans and aliens had learned from one another, adapted together, and triumphed. Liara and her children explored the base, interacting with the colonists in small but meaningful ways. The children played games that tested observation and intelligence, teaching humans to think differently about the world around them. Humans, in turn, taught the children new technologies, language, and strategy. A bond was forming, one that would last for generations. Elias walked among them, observing quietly. Humanity had faced countless challenges in the stars, but this victory was special. It was not won through dominance, but through courage, creativity, empathy, and cooperation. It was the very essence of what made humans extraordinary. Night fell, and the base was quiet, illuminated softly by the glowing forests beyond the walls. The predator remained trapped in the canyon, pulsating faintly as it adjusted to its confinement. It was no longer a threat, but a reminder of the dangers that the galaxy held. Liara whispered to her children as they watched the stars. "We survived today. Tomorrow we live, we learn, and we grow. Humanity and our species, together we are strong." Elias joined them, looking at the horizon. The galaxy is vast and full of dangers, but it is also full of possibilities. Courage, ingenuity, and cooperation, that is how we will explore it, survive it, and thrive in it. That is humanity's way. The children smiled, holding their mother's hands. Jaren pointed to the stars. "One day we will see more worlds." "Yes," Lyra said. "And we will be ready." Elias placed a hand on Liara's shoulder. "With allies like you and your children, the future is ours, not just to survive, but to grow, explore, and shape the galaxy. Humanity thrives not because it is strongest, but because it is brave, compassionate, and intelligent. And that is why we endure." The glowing forests pulsed softly beneath the twin suns, and the stars reflected in the rivers like scattered jewels. The planet, once dangerous and uncertain, now felt like a place of hope, partnership, and possibility. Humans and aliens had learned from one another, faced unimaginable threats, and emerged stronger. Liara watched the humans interacting with her children, teaching, laughing, and working together. She felt a deep sense of peace. "We are safe," she whispered, "and together we can face anything." Elias looked at the children, then at Liara, and finally at the base. "The galaxy is wide and there will be more challenges. But today proves something. Humanity can meet any threat, learn from it, adapt, and overcome. That is our gift, our strength, our destiny." And with that, the first chapter of a new alliance closed. Humans and Liara's family had faced death, fear, and uncertainty, and triumphed. The predator was no longer a threat, and the settlement had learned an invaluable truth. Survival came not from weapons alone, but from courage, cooperation, and the willingness to act together. The stars above shone brightly, reflecting hope, courage, and unity. The children laughed, playing among humans who had once been strangers. Humanity had not just survived, it had inspired, taught, and grown stronger, proving once more why they thrived among the stars. Elias knew this was only the beginning. Countless worlds awaited, full of danger, wonder, and the unknown. But humanity would meet them all, together. Brave, compassionate, and unstoppable. And so, the story of survival, unity, and triumph ended for now. The galaxy was vast, but humanity's courage was greater. The predator had been defeated, trust had been earned, and hope had been restored. Liara held her children close, smiling at the humans around them. "Together," she whispered. Elias watched the stars and nodded. "Yes." Together, the galaxy waited, but humanity was ready.